Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, we're proud to announce that you can now purchase episodes of this show without a dock, power cables, or Joy-Con grip. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. We have got a good show for you today. We are going to be talking about the news from the week, including Nintendo filing a new N64 trademark. And then on Thursday, we're going to be talking about Bloodstained Dark of the Moon. But in the meantime, Mark, how are you?
Feeling great. Feeling like a little bit summery.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're coming here from Memorial Day.
Both of us have our beach bodies ready to go.
That's right. And it's the same beach body we've used a couple years previous.
Yeah. Of course.
You know, these are good bodies, Mark. I don't want anyone to think that we're being sarcastic or anything like that. No. I am in a little bit of a weird headspace. Sarah and I have been watching the Star Wars prequels this weekend.
Uh-huh.
I don't really know why, but we watched Phantom Menace on Saturday, and we watched Attack of the Clones yesterday.
Uh-huh.
And man, Attack of the Clones is a bad movie.
I remember being so excited for that movie.
Yeah.
Because, I was excited for all of them.
Yeah, every time I was like, this one.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, this time they're going to fix the mistakes of the past.
Right.
And that
There
first...
won't be Jar Jar in this one. There won't be a little kid in this one.
That first, Attack of the Clones trailer where it's all, moody and atmospheric and, really, we just saw brief glimpses of things like R2 with that blue grid down on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
And the worms, sneaking into the room, and you're like, yeah, this is the dark Star Wars that we were all hoping for.
Yeah, it's just, it remains a disappointing experience. And I don't know. I don't know why I'm doing this to myself. Right now, I'm looking forward to us. I think we'll probably watch Revenge of the Sith tonight and just be done with it. And then it won't be hanging over our heads anymore. It'll just be done.
Right. Yeah, you just got to rip that Band-Aid off.
You do. Okay, Mark, before we get into stuff here, we've got a favor to ask of our listeners. If you could please rate and review on Apple Podcasts. We would much appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Seriously, thank you so much to everybody who's already done so.
Mm-hmm.
We're just a couple of reviews away from 50.
So close. We're so close to 50.
From our golden
I think we're at 47
review.
or 48 right now.
Uh-huh.
And part of the reason why the plea sounds a little bit more pathetic than usual is, Mark, how many new reviews did we get this week?
I am sad to report that we received no new reviews this week after getting 3 last week.
Yeah, so, some weeks are good weeks and some weeks are bad weeks. But anyway, thank you to everyone who does review us and who listens to the show. If you don't want to review us, you don't have to.
Oh, yeah.
We're not your mom.
No, we just we're not your mom. We're not always asking you, demanding you review her podcast.
That was my least favorite part about living with my mom. Every day she'd be like, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. If you want to follow us on Twitter, I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MKE Mitchell. And the show is NinCart Society. Mark, if people want to participate in our Who is the Best Pokemon Starter,
you've only got a week left.
We are going to be recording a conversation about which Pokemon starter is the best probably this coming weekend.
Uh-huh.
So you got to get that info to us. Some of you have already supplied us with your favorites. Great. I love seeing how everyone is arriving at these conclusions. This is the kind of stuff I want to see. So walk me through your thought process. I want to be there with you.
Where can they send that to?
They can send that to Nintendo Cartridge Society
at gmail.com.
And really, that's it. People aren't borrowing Sonic Forces anymore because I don't know where it is. So sorry about that, everyone. All right, Mark, let's get into what we've been playing this week.
Obligatory Stardew Valley mention. Check.
Mark has been playing Stardew Valley. We've both been playing the Sushi Strikers demo.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about your experience with Sushi Strikers, the way of Sushido.
Okay, so I think we both played the Switch version. I think that's
right.
The only demo that's available.
That's a good question. I'm not
is
sure.
on Switch. So I initially played it docked, and so I was using the Joy-Cons
Yeah,
in the Joy-Con grip to control it. And how did you play? Did you play
I
in like
played with the
tablet mode or
I
whatever?
played with the Pro controller. So I mean, I wanted to
Oh.
have it up on the TV so Sarah and I could see it together. I feel like she's going to, or she may be interested in it because it is a puzzle game. She got into, Puyo Tetris.
What did you think playing it with the controller, playing it with the Pro controller?
Oh, I felt like I was just shaking the control stick around and like pushing the buttons and like I wasn't really in control of what was happening.
Yeah, it's definitely possible to play it that way, but it feels suboptimal. So
Hmm.
after I played a little bit, like the first couple of missions or whatever that way, I took it out of the dock and was playing just in straight up tablet mode. So I had the Joy Cons weren't connected or anything.
Yeah.
I was just doing it all touchscreen, and it's definitely designed to be played that way.
Oh yeah,
The
for
other
sure.
way is functional, but this is using the touch controls is the way that it makes sense.
Does it seem weird to you that this isn't a game they're releasing as a mobile game?
Yeah, it seems like 3DS and mobile make more sense to me
Yeah, than
than
Switch.
3DS and Switch.
Um, yeah, I don't
It
know.
definitely
Hmm.
feels like a mobile, or sorry, a mobile or like a 3DS game.
Yeah, sure.
The presentation looks okay on Switch.
Hmm.
The text isn't blurry or anything, but uh
Faint praise here.
but it's very simple. The one thing that I do think is really interesting is they're leaning super heavily into like the anime aesthetic.
Oh yeah, I mean the cutscenes of this thing are basically like so there are like more fully animated cutscenes that are basically just like anime, and then even the like between fight like dialogue things, it feels exactly like the Puyo Puyo Tetris like cutscenes, except like it makes a little bit more sense.
Yes, makes a little bit more sense, but like the voice acting is of the same caliber.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, but even just like the world itself feels to me like a kid friendly like anime type thing.
Yeah, that has like one high concept idea, and then like hasn't really figured out like how that is real. Like the game starts with text on the screen that says "in a world without fish,"
And then
and
you're lousy with fish.
and then you're loud, yeah, because like but like sushi is outlawed. But it's like, well, why would sushi need to be outlawed if there are no fish?
But I thought it was fun
Yeah, for the time
for the time that I put into
that you
it.
spent
Yeah.
with it.
I'm interested in trying like multiplayer battles. I think that could be a more fun aspect of it
Yeah.
than like the single player campaign.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me because like scoring like linking plates together and then like throwing the plates at your opponent is like sort of fun, but ultimately just feels like why do I even have to throw these? You know what I mean? Where you're just like I should just be like connecting these dots here. I shouldn't have to like be like oh yeah now I can actually
But
use the ammo I've
yeah,
collected.
whenever there's like a puzzle game like this, it's like fighting games for me where I just assume that there's a layer of strategy that people who really like dig into it will
Oh yeah,
understand and get like really good at it.
it does not seem like from the outset it seems like a very superficial kind of game. But yeah, maybe there are levels of strategy here that people are going to unlock that make more sense. The I think maybe the reason that it's not on mobile and maybe the reason that I'm not really interested in thinking about getting it on 3DS is that there are a lot of little shapes on the screen. And the smaller that screen is, I think the less manageable that's going to be. But you say on the Switch screen when it's like pulled out that you have enough like screen space to see everything or
Yeah. That wasn't really a problem for me. You said that you weren't interested in picking it up on 3DS or on mobile, but are you interested in
I don't
getting
know.
like the full? I think it's $40.
I think it's $50. I think it's
Oh.
40 on 3DS and 50 on Switch, but I might be wrong on that one. If it's 40, then I may be more inclined, but I think 50 is
Yeah,
that's too much.
that's too much.
And really, I think probably 40 is too much as well. But I don't know. We've also been playing Bloodstained: Curse of the Moon. That's what we're going to be talking about in our Thursday episode. So come back for that. And then I picked up Dillon's Dead Heat
I
Breakers.
saw you tweeting about this. I'm like, the
Mhm.
Patrick I know is not a liar, so he must have actually bought this game.
That's right. It would have been a weird thing for me to lie about too, because I included a picture of me playing the game in the tweet. Yeah, so I was curious. I was like, how is there a Nintendo first party game that you and I don't really know anything about?
Or care about.
Or really care about. So that curiosity drove me to actually pick up the game. And Mark, it is a cross between Fire Emblem, Star Fox, and Animal Crossing.
Okay. I'm not running away from this.
Right. So the game is weirdly compelling if overly chatty, okay? So the whole game is based around you are yourself, or you are a me of yours who is like an animal form of that me. So my me got turned into a goat, or he's like a sheep or something. He's got horns. Um, and he is from a village in like a post-apocalyptic wasteland, and he is going to the city to seek the assistance of Russ, who is like a little chipmunk inventor, and Dillon, who is this cowboy armadillo. Now, Dillon the cowboy armadillo is a silent hero. Your character also a silent hero. So there are two characters that don't talk at all, but don't worry, all the rest of the characters more than make up for it. Um, so you're like, so this is like the story of the game is that all of these little townships are being raided by these rock monsters, and so you go around to other towns to protect them. And so each of these attacks on towns take the form of first, it's like a sort of tower defensey kind of thing where you hire gunners who from like the village or from the city that like everyone lives in, and you place them at like strategic points around the map. And then there is a racetrack that goes around every village that you're protecting, and that's where like these rock monsters are coming in. So they can be taken out by the gunners that you've placed for like your sort of tower defense strategy sort of portion of the game, or by Dillon, and you take control of Dillon in these fights. So it's like a fully realized 3D map, and you are like, he kind of controls like a Mario Kart sort of a Mario Kart meets Sonic the Hedgehog almost. And so you're like boosting around this track to catch up with these monsters, and then you fight them, and it goes to like a battle screen where it's just like a 3D fighting arena, and you're fighting against these rock monsters. And then like this happens for a little while, and then the rock monsters turn into like motorcycles, and then you chase them around the track, and it becomes like a vehicle combat game.
Whoa.
All the while, which is where it's like Star Foxy, and then all the while your guys are like shooting guns and stuff at them. And so like that's a fight, and then like that day finishes, you go back to the city, and then Russ, this little chipmunk inventor guy, is like, you need to go earn us some money so that we can hire more gunners for tomorrow. And I took a job at the supermarket. And so I spent a day like rearranging packages or things on shelves, and then ringing people up at the register. You had to like look to be like, oh, he bought 3 bales of hay. Each bale of hay is $3.55. So if 355, enter 355, enter 355, enter cash. So like that's like the Animal Crossing part of it. So like I don't
This game sounds insane.
it's insane. There are so many different weird little mechanics in it. I'm maybe like 4 or 5 hours into this game, and I am certain that I don't understand all the systems yet, or even have encountered all of them yet. It's very strange. I find it weirdly compelling. So I'm sure I will be talking more about it as we go.
So a couple of questions.
Yeah.
You didn't get to choose that you were a goat.
No, it just like turns your me into an animal. And I don't know if that is based on, like if you're like, oh, me of this size turns into this, or like these facial features turn into that. Because it takes the rest of the me's on your system and turns them into the NPCs that you can hire as gunners. Turns them all into animals as well. So like I've got a little Andy Daly mouse, and all of these other like me's that I made are now like in the game as well.
And how much was it?
$40.
Oh, I didn't understand that it was like a full game.
It's a game. It's like a real game with a hugely ambitious story and in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. And like playing it, I kind of think Dillon is cool. Like I sort of like this character, and like if he shows up in Smash or something, I'm gonna be like, yeah, cool. I'm happy to see Dillon.
Was this an eShop exclusive?
No,
I am this.
this is
all
just
of this
a
is
game.
just blowing my mind.
It's a full. This is why I was like, how can this be? Because I saw it in the eShop, or I saw it on like a list of like games that were out, and saw that it was $40, and was like, oh my god, this is like a real full Nintendo game that like no one's talking about, us inclusive.
Yeah.
So yeah, I shall endeavor to tell you more about it next week, and hopefully people can have like a full idea of what this game is.
Yeah,
and
I
decide whether
can't. I
it's right
can't
for them.
wait. That piqued my interest. Like, this game sounds crazy.
I mean, the one thing to like, it is so chatty between chapters, between fights, and I think the fights are really cool and really exciting. But like everyone wants to talk to you, and they all want to talk for a long time. Especially Russ. Russ, buddy, shut up. It's too much. All right, Mark, let's get into the new releases and what we might be playing next week.
Gotta say, there's a lot of stuff coming out this week.
Yeah, I saw this list and I got kind of excited about it.
So today, May 29th, Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection is out.
Yep.
Harvest Moon Light of Hope is released. Yoku's Island Express, which is a game that I had kind of like seen on the eShop and advertised a little bit, but early impressions seem to be fairly positive.
Yeah.
It's like a platformer that uses pinball mechanics.
Look, man, I like pinball in the abstract. If there's something else on here to like, make it more than just like a pinball game.
The platforming part of it,
There you go.
I think, is what makes it interesting. Because I agree, I like pinball in the abstract, but playing pinball, and especially playing pinball video games that try to do like faithful simulations,
Yeah.
not very exciting.
Yeah. I'd rather be standing at a table, probably with like, beer stains on it.
Right.
That would be much more fun.
Yoku's Island Express. The one thing that has always put me off a little bit about it is, can you see the logo in your mind? To me, it looks identical to like a ukulele or something logo. Like it looks very derivative.
Sure. Yeah. I see that. It looks very much like the Rare aesthetic is what you're saying.
Yeah, yes. And then on May 31st, West of Loathing is released on the Switch eShop.
Which is that sort of stick figure, like comedy RPG.
Right, that is a Switch console exclusive. I think came out on Steam last year. And then Just Shapes and Beats, another one of those titles that was revealed at the Nindy Showcase.
Yeah, they're just all
is
dropping
out on
now.
the 31st. The Neo Geo game is Ninja Combat.
And look, say what you will about the like nonstop flow of Neo Geo games. If you're gonna put a game out called Ninja Combat, like I'm there. There was no Neo Geo game last week?
Was there not? Was it not a golf game?
I don't know. There may have been a golf game or something. We didn't have it on our list of new releases.
Oh, maybe there wasn't.
I looked it up because I was curious. There are 168 Neo Geo games, so like they can keep up this pace for a while. It would be weird for them to just straight skip a week. Also out this week is Johnny Turbo's arcade Joe and Mac Caveman Warrior. Mark, are you familiar with the Joe and Mac games?
No.
Or I said games. I don't even know if they are games. I remember a Joe and Mac caveman game coming out on Super Nintendo, and I was reading like the preview in Nintendo Power and was too dumb to read the word Neanderthal.
By dumb you mean you were a child?
Yes,
You
of
gotta-
course. And I can't remember how I articulated it to my friend. I think maybe I said they were narwhals or something. He made fun of me for years.
Oh, so you were maybe old enough to know better.
I was maybe old enough to know better, but probably not.
Yeah, no, probably not. Your friends are geniuses, of course. Also interesting that we have these like Neo Geo games coming out, and this is the third or fourth like arcade whatever this game series is as well, right? These Johnny Turbos arcade games. So we're just having like all these retro games, And sure would be nice if there was some sort of label like virtual console that they could
Why
all live
would that
under.
be nice? Why would that be nice, Mark? Explain to me why that's nice.
Because then you just go to one section of the store and you're like, ah, yes, here are all these like retro games that have been put out.
They should just, yes, there should be a retro section. Doesn't need to be called virtual console.
No, it
I know
doesn't
that's
need
what
to.
you were driving at. All right, Mark, let's get out of the new releases. Now it's time for a regular segment on our show. It's time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a performer or group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So, for the duration of one performance 433, Mark and I will talk about something not at all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. Mark, you suggested today's topic, which is what fictional universe would you like to live in? It's tough because a lot of the fictional universes I read about are bad places to be.
Right.
Obviously, I said earlier that I've been watching a lot of Star Wars. I would not like to be in the Star Wars universe.
No, especially because when you think about it, in any fictional universe, odds are you're not going to be part of the select like hero group that these stories are about. And they go through a lot of pain.
Right.
But like you're probably just going to be someone who gets murdered by the Sand People.
Right, exactly. You're going to be Shmi Skywalker.
You are a slave, right? Like
so if you were honestly seriously given this, if a genie was going to grant this wish for you, would you try to get something as close to the world that we currently live in, or would you like go far afield and just be like, forget it, I'm going to Lord of the Rings?
No, because again,
Going to Middle Earth.
all those are pretty bad.
Yeah.
Like Middle Earth is not a great place to be. No, the thing that comes to mind, the answer to this question for me is the Paddington universe.
Does that count as a universe?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
There, you see like a talking bear, and you're just like, oh yeah, cool. Instead of being like, explain yourself, talking bear.
Who is punking me? Are there multiple talking bears in the Paddington universe, or is Paddington singular?
Asking this question means to me that you have not seen the Paddington movies.
This is correct.
Oh my gosh.
I've not seen the Paddington movies.
These movies are amazing. They are pure joy. There are multiple talking bears, like his aunt and uncle.
Okay.
You know, like
all right. So,
they're
okay.
yeah.
So there are talking bears all over the place.
Yes.
All right. That's compelling. That's interesting.
It's just a world filled with such like warmth
Yeah.
and like kindness between people. It just seems like a really great place to live.
I might be breaking the only rule that we have for 433, but the Mushroom Kingdom seems like it would be a nice place to live.
It does it?
I
You have
mean-
like Bowser, like threatening to ruin things all the time.
Oh, sure. I mean, there are threats. There are threats for sure. But like, you can be like a cute little toad guy and run around all day, no shirt, right? Just wearing a vest and a diaper.
I don't think they're diapers.
Well, I don't know.
That's true. Maybe they are.
Maybe they're diapers. Trying to think of like what other universes would be like tolerable, and I guess like that's really what the Paddington universe is, right? Is that it's like tolerable and joyful,
Right.
But if there's like any way that like, if you say like, oh, Star Wars universe, you're sort of like hoping that you get to like use the Force and. Oh, all right. Well, I guess
I guess
we'll
we
never
won't know.
I guess we'll never know. We were accompanied today by Stardust. All right, Mark, let's get into the news.
So last week in Japan, Nintendo started selling Switch systems without a dock through its official online store. This version comes with the console, the Joy-Con controllers, and wrist straps. There's no dock, no Joy-Con grip, no AC adapter, or HDMI cable.
Okay. So, and they're billing this as like the second console for a home, right?
Right. Yes, exactly.
Which I guess in that regard it does make sense. It's weird when I was first thinking about like what other accessories I would need with the Switch. My first thought was like, oh, get a second dock so that we could use it on either TV in the house. It's weird to be like, oh no. If you need more like ways to play Switch, you get just not the dock.
Well, so this is Japan only. Nintendo has said that
Yes.
they're not. They have no plans to offer it outside of Japan. And I wonder if that's just a difference between like American homes and Japanese homes, where American homes a lot of times we're like lousy with TVs.
Yeah, yeah.
We have too many. And I wonder if in Japan it's more common for there to be like one TV for the family. And so in this case, it would make more sense for other people just have switches,
Yeah.
since one might be in the TV, but then you could just play um, the system by itself.
What do you make of the? Because like no dock is one thing, but no AC power, no power adapter
But
is
again,
weird.
that's pretty common outside of the US as well, right? Like a lot of the new 3DS models in Japan and Europe don't come with packed in with AC adapters. You have to
Yeah,
buy them separately.
I mean, but that's sort of at the tail end of the DS, 3DS, right? Because the 3DS uses the same power adapter as the DS, right?
I think so, yeah.
So I think the idea is that people have been using the same charger for a decade, and
Right,
they
once
just
you have one, you don't need
Right.
another one.
every time they buy a new system, they get a new cable that they lose, somewhere, and then remember they have it 5 years later. But like the Switch has only been out for a year and a half, and I guess the USB-C cables are becoming more common. But isn't that also doesn't the Switch overdraw on, or is that just when it's in docked mode?
I think it's just when it's in docked mode.
Okay,
And yeah, USB-C is becoming more common. A lot of phones use USB-C now.
Yeah.
The rumor is possibly that like Apple's phones will be moving to USB-C
great,
in the future as well.
great, brave,
Courageous, even.
courageous. Yeah, sorry.
So this version of the system costs 5,000 yen less than the system with the dock, so it's a little bit cheaper. I don't know. I guess it makes sense to me. Interesting
Mhm.
that they're just selling it in their own online store and that this isn't an offering that would be available at like retailers.
Yeah. Well, I guess yeah. I mean, the whole thing is different because like it's not as though the Nintendo online store in the States has the same even sort of presence of any kind.
No, you
sell-
can't buy
selling
anything.
Switches. Yeah.
From Nintendo directly. Speaking of things that are available in Japan only, last week we talked about Resident Evil 7 Cloud version coming to the Switch and mentioned that there would be no English option available. That turned out not to be the case. The eShop listing didn't have English as an option, but now that the game is out, players have found that there is a way to change the language to English,
Yeah.
which means that people outside of Japan have been
Right.
log
Create
into-
their Japanese accounts and then just log in and buy it, or not buy it,
or
but
rent it or whatever.
try to play it.
Yeah. So, people, it's not very successful, and it's for the reason we talked about that all
Right.
the servers are located in Japan, and so the latency between you calling the server and the server responding, if you're outside of Japan, is like prohibitively long.
Right.
So there's really long lag, lots of errors, but you can theoretically try it out.
Right. But I would say at this point we counter recommend this, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Don't do it.
Right.
Don't do it. It'll take too long. It'll be a laggy, buggy experience. One of your friends has a PlayStation 4. Go play it at their house.
It seems like just last year the new games being printed on SNES or NES cards was something like completely new and novel, and now it seems like it's happening pretty much every week.
But we will continue to report on it every week because I do still think it's new and novel and cool.
We love retro games. Okay, so on July 19th of this year, Retroism will be releasing Return of Double Dragon on SNES compatible carts. Return of Double Dragon was a Japan-only sequel to Double Dragon. We got a game called Super Double Dragon
Okay.
here in the West. So,
And it's a Super NES cart? Is
yeah.
that- okay.
Uh-huh. So, basically, the game is a souped-up version of Super Double Dragon with new moves, some extra stages, and it'll have drop-in, drop-out co-op.
Okay.
And then it's only $50, which seems not as expensive as some of the other like newly released cartridges that we've seen.
Well, the Mega Man 2 and Mega Man X cartridge collections that have come out, they've been $100, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So coming in a little bit cheaper still seems like a lot for this is my bias, I guess, but a lot for a Double Dragon game. I don't like those Double Dragon games. I don't know that. I don't even know that they're playable. Really.
Yeah, I feel like putting it on the cart is
Right.
the way that is like the novelty of it.
For sure.
So it's $50. You can pre-order from Amazon, and the first run of it is a limited edition red cartridge.
Ooh, we haven't
Look,
seen those since Maximum Carnage.
no, it'll look nice next to your Mega Man
Yes.
uh
With blue?
blue. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't order one of those.
The website Japanese Nintendo spotted a new trademark filing for N64. Nintendo filed the trademark for Japan, and uh, the reasoning for it is, quote, purposes include video game program, controller for game machine, joystick for video game machine, TV game machine, and more, end quote. This, of course, has led to the springing forth of more speculation that an N64 Classic Edition is coming soon. Patrick, however, feels
I don't.
like this is not possible.
Well, we've had conversations about how I don't think
We had
it's
an entire
possible.
episode
We did have an entire
where we
episode.
came to the conclusion that there's just too many like barriers for entry. Like,
If you can't ship it with 4 controllers, what's the point?
and the controllers themselves are
crazy.
weird. A lot of the games
Yeah.
that you would theoretically want on this system are tied up in with like rights issues.
Yeah, the whole rare thing is And even there are a ton of other games that people are excited about that it's like, oh, you can't really do Pokemon Stadium on this thing unless is it reading Game Boy cards? And then do all of the controllers have these Game Boy cards? Are there Rumble packs on all of these things? Can you play Star Fox 64 without the Rumble pack? It's just there are too many questions.
There's a lot of reasons to be skeptical.
Yes,
but
I remain skeptical.
However,
All I'm saying is that this is not confirmation that this is happening.
yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
Do you remain hopeful, Mark? Or just do you suspect that it will happen? I guess it doesn't have to be a matter of hope or not.
Yeah, I genuinely have no idea.
Yeah.
It will not surprise me
Mm.
if one ends up happening, but I will be very interested to see what it entails.
Yeah. What
if it does
form
turn out to be
takes.
true.
Yeah.
Because for all the reasons we just mentioned, I don't understand how this thing works.
No, me neither. And also, like so many of those Nintendo 64 games, there are better playable versions of those games available, likely just on 3DS. Like you want to play Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask, play them on 3DS. They're just better there.
Yeah. Nintendo has started banning Switch hackers from accessing online services. So it's unclear exactly what action a user has to perform in order to like get themselves caught up in this ban wave.
Yeah.
But it seems to be people who have like unlocked their system for like hack their system for like homebrew and stuff like that. Yeah, jailbreak. Bans seem to be on an account level, not just a system level.
Okay. So if you have one account across multiple systems, does that even exist at this point?
So I guess, well, yeah, you can log in with your account on
sure.
multiple
Okay, yeah.
switches. But I guess what happened was one of the people who got banned, the system that they found out they were banned on was not the system that they had hacked.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. And this is probably, twofold. One, an attempt by Nintendo to prevent cheaters in online games,
Mhm.
and probably more so just to prevent piracy on the system.
Oh, yeah.
It was a huge problem on the DS.
Right. And, the
Destroyed
Switch,
the PSP too.
Yeah. Well, destroyed / made it a very popular piece of hardware too.
Made a popular piece of hardware
That
but like
Sony never made a dime on after it got in people's hands.
right, and
'Cause
like
they were
why
just
would
downloading
why
Super
will
Mario
third
Brothers 3.
parties why will third parties put games on your system if they know that nobody's going to buy them? They're just going to like
Yeah. They're just going to steal
sideload
other
it.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Finally, a reminder that the Mario Tennis Aces pre-launch tournament is taking place this Friday, starting at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and runs through Sunday night at 11:59 p.m.
I saw a lot of people on Twitter and on Facebook saying, "Hey, I've downloaded this demo. I'm having trouble. It's not working. Can anyone please advise me what's happening here? Why can't I play this game?" And it's because it's only access for this online tournament. You're downloading the game now so you can play it on Friday.
Right. It's like the ARMS test punch.
Right.
Or
the
the
Splatoon test
Splat.
Splat. Why have we forgotten what this is called? It is so much better than test
Splat
punch.
test.
It's not not splat test.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I was expecting there to be some sort of. They put it out so early.
It's like a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
What's your point?
I don't know. I don't know that I have one. I thought they were very clear on what this thing was. That you would be able to play the game over next weekend, and you could just download it now so that you didn't have to wait until 6:00 p.m. on Friday to start downloading.
Yeah, I'm interested to check it out.
Yeah, me too.
And that's pretty much it. It was kind of a light news week as we all anticipate E3 in a couple of weeks, and who knows, lots of rumors about Pokemon Switch flying around.
Yeah, we anticipate that as soon as we hit the stop button on recording this episode, that Pokemon news will break, and we will find out about everything, and we will just not be here to report on it.
Yeah, it's happened before.
It has in fact happened before. If you are interested in signing up to get information about Pokemon Switch emailed to you, you can go to the nintendo.co.uk page. It has a field where you can register your interest by entering your email address and telling it that you're not a robot by entering a CAPTCHA and then submitting. I know because I have done this, and Nintendo Cartridge Society will know when everyone else knows and report on it probably a week later.
Yeah. Sounds great.
All right, Mark, let's get out of the news. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Remember, come back on Thursday. We are going to be talking about Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon. In the meantime, please rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff on Apple Podcasts. If you like this episode, please share it on Facebook or Twitter. It always helps us out and spreads the word around. I am at Patrick_Ellers on Twitter. Mark is at MKE Mitchell. The show is at Nin Cart Society. You can check out the Facebook page, which is just Nintendo Cartridge Society. And remember, you are running out of opportunities to tell us who the best Pokemon starter is. So email that to Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com. If you like Mark and Mine's opinions, we write about comic books on retconpunch.com. Olivia Duncan made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers saying thanks for listening.